Vietnam, a small-scale agricultural country, since joining WTO has been working to improve its processes to meet the World Economic Integrity standards. Facing explosive economic development, Vietnam business thinking and working style struggle to keep pace with these requirements. In order to build the pangasius industry, one of Vietnam's most important seafood export commodities, Vietnam producers at all levels are working to maintain high international standards, sustainable production, and a stable international reputation. In the U.S. markets particularly, Vietnam has been approaching international standards through strengthening workers' standards, quality management, certification program, and working closely with international audit teams. The attaining of these third-party certifications helped Vietnam's seafoods and pangasius in particular become more internationally recognized as quality seafood products. Prior to 2011, Vietnam pangasius image was blackened, especially in Europe, then the largest markets for pangasius. The U.S. markets was only beginning to grow after the financial crisis and the tariff challenges that face all pangasius exporters to the American market. The U.S. market is considered one of the 3 largest seafood consuming markets. USA is currently second in importing Vietnam pangasius. The U.S. is considered the largest growth market in the world and the target of most pangasius producers in Vietnam. The Vietnam Associations of Seafood Exporters and Processors (VASEP) has stated that Vietnam pangasius producers are very confused in determining the relative importance of all the third-party aquacultural standards requested by various import markets. Vietnam and its main customer base must review the differing standards and adopt appropriate standards for the aquaculture and producing industries for each of the importing markets. Our utmost target is how to build a brand name for Vietnam's seafood through continuously promoting quality and sustainable production for export. To do this, VASEP, along with seafood enterprises, have been supporting step by step in applying all standards requested by various important markets. For example, on farming, from traditional standards, we are now applying such standards as Global GAP, BAP, and recently ASC in certifying producers. Through successfully applying markets' requested standards, we could enhance our own brand and reputation. Not only the USA, but most of pangasius importing markets have their own strict standards on quality management and traceability. Breeding, farming, feeding, processing, and transportation are to be controlled by internationally recognized standards. Nowadays, all standards on seafood safety have been spread out to individual farmers and processors in the Mekong Delta. In addition, teams of quality assurance personnel equipped with most updated professional knowledge have been collaborating with enterprises to reorganize and to supervise farms and plants. The target is to maintain high international standards for the entire supply chain for pangasius product and to improve traceability for this entire supply chain process.
One of the major concerns in the United States is the banned antibiotics. So testing of the product is very important. We're also very concerned about environmental chemicals in the product. So testing the growing areas and the ponds and the effluents and making sure that those are within an environmental sustainable manner is very important to our consumers in the United States, and also from a regulatory point of view. For processing facilities, processing the seafood in the seafood industry in your plants, make sure that you're using current good manufacturing practices that adhere to current FDA requirements.
In recent years, to help farmers and enterprises understand the importance of food safety, some U.S. leading pangasius importers have assigned their own agents to inspect and control the quality according to the strict standards. These quality assurance personnel need to acquire professional knowledge and constantly update their training. Most of them were intensively trained in seafood quality management and graduated from college university, then are periodically updated with new standards and information from import markets. Nong Foods Co Limited is the company selected and trained by the H&N Group to cover the quality control and traceability requirements for its seafood products from Vietnam. Nong Foods Co Limited has been assigned by the H&N Group to assure food safety and quality of all goods sources in Vietnam. Our specialists cooperate and maintain 100% visibility at all processing plants. We inspect from the hatchery, farming pond, feed mills to processing plant. Our team inspects the input raw material, the processing lines, and finally the finished products. An antibiotic and chemical testing. We subcontract to third-party laboratories. In Cần Thơ, we have Intertech, for example. On moisture content, we have our own testing device, which is calibrated by third-party results on a regular basis. We also inspect farming procedures and techniques at site that supply material to our processing plants. We also inspect fish feed plants. We maintain traceability documentation in all aspects of the supply chain from fingerlings, pond farmings, as well as processing lines to ensure a complete traceability on all export containers. We also assure all certifications remain valid for our processing and growing operations. VASEP confirms that under the control of specialists and quality control personnel, in recent years, Vietnam's seafood and Pangasius products exporting to the USA have achieved some encouraging results. The intensive specialization in inspection for farming and processing has improved the overall quality and consistency for products exported to the USA. In witnessing the site inspection by international certification teams, we could see the result of the efforts made by each part of the production chain, assuring Pangasius shipments meet the strict international standards for food safety and quality for export to the USA. Many hardworking officials have been driving on site to control, to adjust and update all parameters so as to assure 100% compliance for export and to minimize the risk of containers rejection by import countries. For farmers using traditional Pangasius aquaculture, fingerlings were caught naturally. This is no longer acceptable in industrial hatcheries built under international standards. We selected brood stock to assure best health and quality for all fingerlings sent to grow our farms. Our hatchery buys breeding fries and parent fish from the Research Institution for Aquaculture RIA2 of the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development's MARD, where fish are selected in the process of breeding and farming to fry size by EU Global Gap standards and US BAP standards. EU, American and other markets have all requested food safety and traceability as their priority. That means the quality of the fish fillets. To achieve this target, we are approaching a biological solution, better quality broodstock and stronger fry. This reduces the need for any antibiotics treatment, which will cause residues in the fish fillets that is unsafe for consumers and banned in most importing countries. In addition to checking and tracing the parent's generation, technicians regularly test farm water intake, effluent, overall environments while monitoring quality of pond water in order to conform the BAP quality standards, best aquaculture practice standards. These inspections have been frequently done by Nong quality control teams. The daily pond water tests help control the quality of ponds for Pangasius parents and fingerlings as well. The process for egg production has to meet with strict quality and hygiene standards. Fish feed production has also been developed into a high-quality industry. Factories are equipped with modern technologies. These new standards have helped to maximize the feed nutrition values, stabilize the protein value and quality of the feed pellet, which helps maintain fish health and the quality of pond water and effluent back to the environment. By a specialized combination formula, feed is processed to be easily absorbed and enhance fish natural immunity. In this area, inspectors have to check the production line, ingredient sources, the packaging quality, storage, and transportation. The quality of our feeds for fish export to EU or to the USA is similar. However, each market would have its own requirements. For example, USA needs BAP standards and EU requires Global GAP. Our plant is now ISO 2000 and Global GAP certified. BAP is our target in the coming weeks. As the consequences of farming inspection and control, the quality of fish is relatively improved. Investment is for upgrading farming facilities, technology, and processing know-how. All these steps lead to conforming the HACCP management system, in which food safety is addressed through the analysis and control of biological, chemical, and physical hazard from raw material production, procurement and handling to manufacturing, distribution and consumption of the finished product. It is therefore most recent production of Bengasia's products that are achieving these high standards, with improved quality and traceability. Companies that follow these traceability guidelines and techniques will prove to be the most successful in the future.
Vietnam's a very, very important origin of supply for my company. The reason why it is because it was an extremely important supply origin for my company. The reason why it is because we do find that the quality of Vietnamese seafood products is rather good. We do have some concerns at times. Those concerns would be from an antibiotic standpoint with shrimp, and then from a treatment standpoint on Pangasius. For the most part, in working very closely with our suppliers, we've been able to overcome those obstacles. But in other channels where it may be still occurring, it affects the industry in general. So although our experience is very, very good, we find that Vietnam has to assure that all of the seafood suppliers are doing things appropriately from an antibiotic standpoint on shrimp and from a treatment standpoint on Pangasius.
At processing plants, samples are often taken for testing all banned residues. Preservative, addictive parameters have to be under limits. Inspection are very keen for contamination, cross-contamination, and prohibit the use of banned chemicals. Since exporting to the USA, we are always cautious that our company products have to be saved from antibiotics procedures so as to meet the US very strict standards. We apply these same standards to our entire Bengasia supply chain, from feed mill to farm to finished goods. On a regular basis, H&N has sent quality assurance specialists to Vietnam, working closely with Hai Nong inspectors as well as plant quality control personnel so as to assure the quality and food safety not only for traditional products but also newly developed products. VASEP released that in the years of 2012, there were still several Vietnam seafood containers listed on FDA import refusal, FDA import alert. Most of the refusals are due to adulteration. Some were refused for banned antibiotic residues and were recalled to Vietnam. These events damaged the Vietnam seafood image in general. As more operations adopt the new international standards, utilizing traceability, the weak parts of the supply chain will be eliminated. Vietnam Bengasius is ranked 6th in the U.S. white meat fish market and is welcomed by most wholesalers, retailers, and restaurants. USA is a strong consuming market. We can predict the import quantity would be double in next 5 years. Vietnam exporters need to decide a single name for this fish, to openly declare processing additive and preservative, control the use and to apply clean farming techniques, free from antibiotic. Those are very normal requests from our customers, U.S. importers, U.S. government and U.S. FDA, U.S. Food and Drug